You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
The snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! He's going to heave one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be caught! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Corey! It's Corey! Got a touchdown! Corey's got a touchdown! Oh my! Corey's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Harvin. He comes back. Say goodbye.
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. This is Dan.
Delatory.
We're having a little war of attrition here. Jordan is still coaching with the Jaguars this offseason, and Corey is doing something that's far more important this tonight, and that's being a dad. His son is going to have a scrimmage tonight. He's playing wide receivers, playing running back, and he wants to be there, and he should be here or be there for that. So it's going to be Nick and I today. Nick, how was your weekend?
Good. You see me yawning, tired. Saturday at scrimmage, we'll have some notes and stuff there. Sunday was Frankie's first birthday. So we did the party last week. Saturday, actually, I was up in Jacksonville right after. Jacksonville, Dan.
Yeah.
Not a great party town either. Glass Factory, nice venue.
Did you go to Moncrief?
No, we're real quick. So did the scrimmage, went home, showered, changed, put on my wedding tux because my wife told me it's a black tie wedding.
Okay.
My wedding tux is, you saw it, Dan, very nice tux. It is dark navy blue.
Right.
And I told my wife, black tie just means wear a tux. It just means fancy.
It does.
Doesn't matter if it's blue, navy blue, or black. Wife didn't relay the message well. It just said wear a black tux or a black suit. So only guy wearing blue here. She mistook wear black for it's a black tie wedding. So just me in blue.
Always have to stand out in the crowd, Nick.
Just me in blue. Congratulations to Hunter and Summer.
Congratulations to them, Nick, as an owner of a blue tuxedo myself. It's the best decision you can make. It stands out. It's nice. It's classy. Yours was classy.
Thank
you.
I
think that's the way to go. But that's good. Otherwise, low-key weekend for Dan over here. Making a lot of life changes, doing a lot of improvement on not going out as much, trying to keep it a little bit more mellow. We'll see. Football season starts in a couple of weeks, so we might be singing a different tune. I'm getting
peeling the curtain back. Dan will be staying at Casa Delatory. We'll see. We'll see, especially if it's a night kickoff next day. We'll see.
Well, yes. So I'll be up there for the USF game, the Mississippi State game, and the Texas game. And I do think, Nick, I'll be with you for maybe a night or two for some of those. But I'm looking forward to Peyton Town Red with you up in Gainesville this season. But, Nick, I'm turning the leaf. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I told you guys I was turning the leaf. I finally got to tell my parents last week. It's been something we've been talking about and going over for a while, but I'm going to be going to Columbia in September for a yoga retreat. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I've been getting into yoga a lot recently. I had a bit of an injury earlier this year, so I had to move from lifting to doing yoga more. So very, very excited about that. And then in November and December, heading to Switzerland, Germany, and France. So got a lot of fun planned up for the Thompson family coming up here over the next couple of months. So I got to save and got to restore some of this energy because we're going to get after a little bit.
So you didn't turn over a new leaf?
No, I didn't. I'm going on a yoga retreat.
In Columbia.
That's just happens to be where it is.
Okay.
All right. So no further questions. I'm going to a house in the mountains and doing a 5-day yoga retreat, which I'm very excited about. But speaking of being excited, very, very exciting episode today of Stadium and Gale. We've got a couple big announcements. We're going to bring Neil Blackmon from Florida Basketball Hour. I'm sure you guys saw a little bit about that and what we're going to be doing with Florida Basketball Hour. We're going to talk a little bit about Game Day Eve. And then we're going to welcome Urban Meyer, former Florida coach and one of the newest members of the College Football Hall of Fame, to the show around 8:00 tonight. Then we're going to break down the scrimmage, and then we're going to break down special teams a bit. So we look forward to this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you can. Super chats will always get read. If you're watching on X, please hit that retweet button. We would love to help the algorithms and help new people find us here on Stadium and Gale. So again, we appreciate you for watching. And as always, Nick, I was going to have you do this ad read, but I didn't prepare you. So as always, this show is presented by our friends over at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. If you are in Florida, or if you are in the southeastern part of the United States, go visit Brunt Insurance. That's BURNT insurance.com, or give them a call at 954-589-2204. Anything that you need, from life insurance to homeowners insurance to boat, car, RV, rental insurance, whatever it might be, Brunt Insurance and his folks over there can help you. So go visit bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204, and just at least go get your policies checked. Find out how much money they can save you. There's no cost to get a quote. So go visit brunt.com, 954-589-2204.
Greg, what it do, baby? Anthony Beck, worried about your safety. Yoga retreat. Yeah, Dan is going to come back with 2 pulled hamstrings and a bruised ego.
My brother in Christ, I've been doing this 3 days a week for the last 9 months. Once a week before that. So looking forward to that. I've never done anything like this, so I'm looking forward to trying something new. I'm in my let's try to do new things, travel new places, and maybe places that I wouldn't otherwise go. Colombia is not on necessarily my bucket list of places that I wanted to go, and so it's a cool opportunity to go. Never been down to South America, so go check that out. So looking forward to trying some new things this year, next year, and beyond. So I appreciate everybody's support for that. And if I do come back injured, then Anthony, shout out to you for calling it early. All right. So again, want to talk about Game Day Eve. We haven't decided if we're going to start that next month or next Friday or the following Friday, but Game Day Eve is a show that we are going to deliver to you every Friday morning right here on YouTube, on X, and then it will be in your podcast feeds. We're just going to discuss the upcoming game. We're going to do a little buy or sell, a little over under. So we're looking forward to that. So look forward to a time when that will be announced. It'll be sometime in the morning, probably in the 9, 10, 11 o'clock window there. We might have to adjust some work schedules, things of that nature. But look forward to that. We want you guys to participate. We're going to bring on guests each week and have a guest picker each and every week. So go make sure that you're subscribed so that's a part of your feed as that comes out. So again, we'll make an announcement whether that's next Friday or the following Friday. Also want to announce us, High Top Sports and Gators Breakdown, are getting together and bringing back the Gator panel. I'm sure you guys remember, Nick, I know you were on before you even joined this show. 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we used to do a Gator panel at the beginning and usually some point in the middle of the season or maybe at the end of the year, where we get together, we prognosticate a bit about the season, put out some predictions, have some fun. So that's going to be Sunday night, and that will be on our feed. That will be on the High Top Sports feed and on the Gators Breakdown feed. So definitely you'll want to check that out. It will be a lot of fun. It's going to be different content than what we had at the Independent Gator Media Day as well. And then finally, as we wait for Neil, we wanted to announce that Florida Basketball Hour is now going to be a part of the Stadium and Gale network, which we are very, very excited about. Neil and Eric have been on this show probably amongst the top 3 of any guests that we had collectively. Between the two of them, Eric Fawcett was on the 5th show that we ever did of Stadium and Gale. I think Ahmad was trying to figure out where Edmonton was during that phone call, but we're very excited to welcome them into the podcast network. What does that mean? Not a ton for you. If you're listening to Florida Basketball Hour, the content is going to be in the same place. If you're not, we are going to introduce you to that content on our feed and on our YouTube page as well. So you can absorb that content. You can learn a bit more about the basketball team. I don't know if there's any 2 more plugged in guys with the basketball program than Neil and Eric. Neil is right here in Gainesville, has great relationships with Todd Golden and the rest of the staff. Eric Fawcett is a basketball coach. He's an analytics guy, a huge Florida Gators fan, and I don't think anybody breaks down basketball as well as Eric and Neil do, especially around the Florida Gators. So we're very excited to welcome them to the podcast network, and there might be a few more announcements related to that in the near future too. So again, a lot of news today, a lot of general housekeeping that we wanted to knock out of the way. And we're going to welcome Neil on in a few minutes to talk a little bit more about Florida basketball, maybe a little bit about the press conference, and then we'll bring Urban Meyer on around 8:00. So a lot to absorb.
I want to go back to the yoga. I'm just kidding. It made so much sense. So Eric and I have known each other going back to Gator Country. I cannot take credit for finding him. That was somebody else at Gator Country, but have been friends with him, and it's been cool to see him go from we'll have to ask him about it. He kind of went viral for his vows. When he got married, his vows were all sports related, sports innuendos, sports callbacks. Was featured on ESPN. So that's all I knew of him. Met him in person. Just randomly ran into him, I think. In person.
I never met him in person.
Yeah. And obviously we've had him on the show a bunch. Been cool to see him go from that. He is just a Canadian who decided to pick the Florida Gators and picked them at the right time. They won back-to-back basketball championships, won 2 out of 3 in football. And to watch him go from just breaking down film to being a coach at a college and then being a professional coach has been really cool to see. And then Neil has been a hoop head for a while. He has ties to North Carolina with his dad, and obviously is a Gator, a lawyer, and a good friend. Neil was at Frankie's baptism.
Okay.
So 2 good friends. And like you said, Dan, there's no better basketball coverage than the Florida Basketball Hour. So
I tried to get Neil to cut the rug at your wedding.
A
little bit more of a wallflower at the wedding, and that's perfectly fine. I know not everybody has the reputation, but it was great to meet Neil there. And then, we've become good friends.
Is that really the first time you guys met?
In person, yeah. We had, obviously communicated over text and the phone and Twitter, but that's the first time I met him in person. There's a number of people that I think I met for the first time at your wedding that I had always, seen and communicated with, but never got the chance to make the formal introduction with. So call back to your wedding, man. What a fun night that was.
Yeah. If you had the betting odds of me being carried out of my wedding,
you were wrong. You didn't cash. You didn't cash the bet.
Lost. That was probably minus 1,200 too. Did not cash. Yeah, Neil's on the way. Real quick news. We'll get into it more, Dan. But DJ Lagway, if you can catch some of that sky that's been falling, if you put your hands up, catch some of that sky, Dan. DJ Lagway threw an 11-on-11 today. First time this camp.
Is this the first time since Tulane?
Yes.
Okay.
In 11-on-11, yeah. I don't even know that they were bowl prep. You're really not doing like 11-on-11 tackling. But yeah, it's been really interesting to see, and I have to filter myself a little bit when I'm like talking live on the podcast after being at practice. You get more of it on the message boards.
Yep.
Go
to FloridaVictorious.com.
But FloridaVictorious.com. There you go. But it's been really cool to kind of see what goes into practice and kind of what it looks like being at both scrimmages. I've been in the last 4 scrimmages now. But we've got Neil, so we're done stalling.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We also want to shout out DJ Lagway. Did he give every player beats?
Yeah, I guess that has hit. I was not supposed to talk about it, but it's already hit the internet because the players are happy themselves.
Yeah, the players are putting it on social media that they got gifted Gator banded Beats headphones with a nice little message. We'll go over that. I do want to welcome Neil on. Want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Go get a really cool cup like this one. I've got some more over there, but Nick has some as well. We'll keep your hot drinks hot, your cold drinks cold. Go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code Stadium15 to get 15% off of your order. And with that, we welcome from Saturday Down South and Florida Basketball Hour, Neil Blackmon. How are you, my friend?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Not a better opening act, I would say, for Urban Meyer.
We don't often get the
Blackmon.
chance to have the opener overshadow the main performer. But
yeah.
Future Ring of Honor inductee, Urban Meyer.
I can't believe we have 2 Ring of Honor inductees on the show tonight, Neil and Urban.
That's right. There it is. This is so funny. I showed this. What was it, Senator? Was it Corinne Brown?
Representative Corinne Brown. Yeah.
I showed somebody
legal trouble not long after.
Oh no! Okay. I showed some people in the office this, and I hadn't watched it in so long because I think I was in the office and I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Them Gators don't take no jive, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh man." The joy I had in being able to share that with somebody who hadn't seen it yet, warmed my heart.
Do you think Urban Meyer's seen that video? He's got to have, right?
He has to have. Coach Urban Myers.
Yeah. Coach Irving
Percy Harvey.
Yeah, Percy Harvey. I think Tim
she was wearing a silk bathrobe. Was that
incredible.
Was that the United States Congress or was that?
Yeah, U.S. Congress.
Yeah, that was the U.S. Congress.
If I remember correctly, she represented the 904 area.
She represented part of Gainesville too. They gerrymandered that seat away.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, she was most of Gainesville, including the swamp.
Master's degree in education from the University of Florida, actually, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Neil, we had the chance to talk about Florida Basketball Hour and Stadium and Gale joining forces. I for one, am super excited about what you guys are doing at Florida Basketball Hour and how we can help you potentially grow your brand. I think, but more importantly, you fill a major gap in that we don't really know a lot about basketball. And I'm appreciative
Buddy. Speak for yourself.
I'm talking mainly about you.
2 hoops, and you put the orange bouncy thing into the hoop, and you try to do it more than the other team. Idiot. Ha!
Well, I stand corrected. But Neil, for those that may not be familiar, and I'm sure most are, give fans a perspective about Florida Basketball Hour.
Yeah, I saw everybody tweeting out their credential thing, year whatever today. Shout out to all those guys. It has. If you're like year 8 or 9 on the Florida football beat, it hasn't been the easiest road, man.
This is my year 12.
All right, but you get to cover Sully, so
yeah.
I feel less bad for you. This is going to be our 8th season covering Florida basketball. It's been same 2 guys the whole time. Me, Eric Fawcett. Fawcett is now also working on a thing with internet anonymous personality Trilly Donovan.
Okay.
Who's a big-time college basketball personality and brand. He does a show with Kevin Sweeney on that network. He also coaches professionally. He's coached at the national team youth level as an assistant. So, like, what we always tell people is, and then this, I think the biggest change of the show really is that I moved back to Gainesville a year ago from Charlotte. So we used to be two guys who coached, albeit him at a much higher level than my high school coaching. But like, it was always, hey, these are two coaches that are talking about the sport. So that's a little bit different, right? But now that I'm in Gainesville, I think we also have an access. We're given a lot of access, which Denver Parlor, all those guys that make that possible. We so much appreciate you and the chance we get to cover the program. But that is unique about our show because you're going to probably learn something about basketball and what's happening on the floor and what you're watching. And then also we have all the insider stuff that you want. So that a lot of people love. So that's kind of been our journey. Obviously, year 7 was incredible. National champions. But we started this show thinking that Florida basketball was this huge brand. And it was interesting that we didn't have to sell that to a lot of people. Like, people kind of knew that nationally, and it was almost the Florida fan base that wondered if it was just the Donovan era or not. And nationally, people were like, well, yeah, of course Florida's good. Like, you have a ton of talent in the state. You have an administration that, compared to most SEC schools, actually cared. That's continued, by the way. Scott Strickland, even I think Florida fans will be very pleased, probably, unless they want it all to go to football. They'll be very pleased about the division and the fact that the contribution that Florida basketball is going to get from revenue share. And they deserve that. I did an episode. I don't remember. I think it was a couple weeks after the national championship. And I just talked about, like, look, when you've won 3 times as many national titles as the rest of the SEC, including Kentucky, this century, when you've been to 6 Final Fours, when you've been to 10 Elite Eights, when you have the second highest win percentage in the SEC since integration, like, you are a legitimate royalty style program. And it's cool that I think fans are, I don't want to say finally, but I do feel like the last couple of seasons, even before the national title, you started to see people kind of embracing that and embracing, like, hey, it's basketball season. This is great. I mean, De La Torre didn't know we were going to win the national title, and he came and sat down next to me in non-conference games last season. I was surprised to see him.
Same.
Maybe he just woke up from a Frankie nap and decided he would make his way over there. Who knows? But, like, point is, it's a natural combination. I think you guys, in terms of, like, the access that you give people to personalities, the way you celebrate what Florida football has been, but also what they're trying to build it to be, all of that is very consistent with kind of what our vision of why we started Florida Basketball Hour was. So I think that makes it really fun to get the chance to partner with y'all.
Yeah, that was it was interesting because there were times, obviously I never really covered Florida basketball. Richard Johnson covered the Final Four run in my first year.
Yeah.
And then I had Bailey covering basketball for me. She was my intern. I always had somebody covering it for me. And to be honest, during those years with Mike White, with the way that the team was performing and how good Sully was, and I think just my knowledge of baseball and then my consistency, our baseball numbers were better than our basketball numbers. And in 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, baseball was outperforming in terms of clicks, was outperforming basketball. And then I think, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit towards the SEC tournament. I think people started like really tuning. Of course, people tuned in. We had that event before the Tennessee game. I think you start believing when they win at Auburn. They make a run in Nashville, and I think people are like, okay, Spidey sense is tingling. Let's start really tuning in, tapping in. But yeah, the way that the team kind of embraced these guys, and in my new role, I get to interact with them more in a non, press conference setting. We were able to do that senior night video for the 3 senior guards. That was really, really cool. Meant a lot, I think, to everyone at Florida Victorious to be able to do that for them. But just a really good group of guys. And I was just talking with Urban. We're doing that because he was back home.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great pronunciation, by the way.
That was great. That was great pronunciation, and the video was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just talking with him a little bit, and I was not trying to be disrespectful, but like in the tournament, you really tighten up and just kind of like say, hey, what was your view like? And kind of the ride and the run. But yeah, it was a special group of guys last year. Certainly easy to root for.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking, Napier was talking today about how he feels, what he's most proud of is the culture that they've built. And he didn't use the word finally, but the way he was asked the question, you could tell he was like, yeah, this is the first camp there's not entitlement. This is the first camp that there's joy in the success of your teammate. And I think that's what struck me about the basketball team. And it'll be cool to do Stadium and Gale as I get this book done about the Florida basketball team too, and about this championship season, which I know a lot of people have been supportive about, and I appreciate that. Like, I think that was the first thing that struck me. Like, I remember doing y'all's show when I was in Charlotte, and and you guys were like, yeah, you're up. Are you up there? And I'm like, yeah, I just want to see how good they are. Like, they're unbeaten. They're going to play North Carolina in basically a road game. It's going to be 20,000 Tar Heel fans here. Let's see how good they are. Well, they're pretty good. Like, that's what I walked out of that building thinking. But it was everything. It was Walter Clayton embracing what NBA scouts told him he needed to embrace, become a first-round draft pick. Like, oh, you want me to play a position I've never played in my entire life, my last year of college? Sure. I will do that. It was Will Richards saying, I will come back to school and I will guard even if I'm not shooting well, which sounds like a player could be selfish if they don't do that. But what I will tell you is it's really hard to not, when you're a guy who plays as good offensively as Will Richard can, it's hard to not let it affect your defense. It's hard to not think about missed shots. And he was willing to do that. It was Elijah Martin saying, they told him, hey, you come here and we're going to give you an opportunity to reshape the culture. We're going to trust you to lead loud and to just go out there and be yourself. And Elijah, one of the first comments he made to me in November was, I got my joy back. And what he meant by that was his last year at FAU, he was hurt. There were so many expectations on that team, unfair expectations because of the Final Four run. They were under a microscope. Every game that they played was the biggest game for the opposing team. And Elijah just said it was really hard.
Yeah.
And he wanted to remember what it was like to just go out and play and have fun. But all those guys embraced a role, right? And so when you heard Napier talking today, I'm not saying Florida's winning a national title or anything, but it was cool to hear that. It was cool to hear people like Brandon Spike say, this isn't about talent now. Like, it's about, do you guys, stack day upon day, like Napier talks about stacking days. Like, Spikes is out there telling guys, it's just stack rep on stack, rep on rep on rep on rep. Like, we aren't, and when your guy makes when a guy battling for a spot with you makes a great play, like, yeah, you better be looking over your shoulder, but you also better be lifting him up. And that, I think, was Florida. Like, the culture that Todd Golden has built has made it really easy to kind of get behind that program.
Yeah, and I know that there's obviously a lot of excitement about next season as well. You do well in the transfer portal. You get Xavier Lee, you get Boogie Flan, you get A.J. Brown, you get some exciting new players as well, freshmen that are coming in, and then you get Alex Condon back, you get Tommy Hawk back, you get Ruben Chinyelu back, you get the pieces, and now you just get to augment those pieces with some incredible talent. Certainly – it would be hard pressed for me to think that, they're going to win a national championship, but I think that we have the foundation of what a championship team could look like. You have the coaching. We had the chance to talk to both of the assistant coach or, two of the three assistant coaches earlier this offseason. And you can tell they're dialed in. They celebrated a little bit and they were traveling all over the country, but they're absolutely dialed in into, making sure that they locked in the transfer portal, locked in recruiting, and then, you can celebrate, but it's time to look at the next prize, and that's that next national championship.
Yeah, they're going to be good. I mean, I think the floor for them, I think assistants would tell you this. They might not say it out loud. Todd Golden might get mad at them for saying it out loud, but the floor for them is probably the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get to the Sweet 16, anything can happen, and anybody would tell you that's in the sport. But Jonathan Sapphire is one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
They won the title and it might not have sunk in for him, but as soon as Desmond Claude from USC visited, Saff and Todd Golden went back and they felt something was a little off, and that they weren't going to settle for that. They're like, let's just go get somebody that we think is better. Let's go compete our rear ends off and get someone better. They brought in Boogie Flan.
Absolutely.
Right. Denzel Aberdeen comes in and, great kid, great person, great player, key part of a national title team, but comes in and asks for way above market value. And a lot of staffs wouldn't have been okay being that uncomfortable. And Florida was like, we'll figure it out. These guys compete. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to rest on their laurels. And you know what? They know what's coming too. I've asked multiple guys on this staff, that now it's going to be rush the floor every night when you play Florida.
Yeah.
You know that you're going to get the best 5 minutes possible from Colgate.
Yeah.
On December 22nd, the greatest 5 minutes they've ever played. And they're like, yeah, it's going to be a totally different challenge, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll do it on Stadium Gale together.
We're looking forward to it. Well, Neil, we appreciate you joining today. We've got Urban waiting in the wings, and as any opening act has to do, the lights start to come on, the music starts to play. So we're going to let you out of here. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, and then we'll talk to you real soon. They can find me at NW Blackmon on your social media. I think that's pretty much all of them. Or Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And then, Saturday Down South, Florida Basketball Hour, whatever, read the content, listen to the show, enjoy Urban, man. He can tell you stories about rings. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Neil, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. And with that, we'll welcome 3-time national championship winning coach and newest member of the College Football Hall of Fame, Urban Meyer. Urban, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be with you guys, Dan.
Well, thanks so much for responding quickly today and moving your schedule around to bring us or to have you come on the show. Want to talk about, college football in general, but wanted to, congratulate you for obviously being a member of the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame and what that honor means to you.
Well, I've been a college football fan for as long as I've been able to say the words college football. So, and I also, I was one of those guys that I became enamored with the coaching profession when I really started to study Nebraska. I was telling this story the other day that, when I was in high school or junior high, you were not allowed to lift weights. And people did not believe in the training. And so I started watching this Husker Power, it was called. I started getting the magazines. My dad got the magazines for me. And I went from, 120-pound weakling to 170-pound guy that was, instead of fly balls, the ball started going over the fence, to a guy that didn't play much to an all-state safety. And I said, wait a minute now. This might be a little bit of secret sauce here. So I just, at a very young age, I just became enamored with how to find an edge as a coach. So I wanted to play as long as possible. But it also humbles you when I see some of the names of the guys on my staff and some of the former great players. There's an argument that those are some of the greatest players that ever play the game.
I was born in '88, and I remember even when I was growing up, they were like, "Oh, don't lift weights." I played baseball. Oh, don't lift weights, and then that was like during the home run chase. And I'm like, I think Mark McGuire's lifting weights. I think you can play baseball and you can lift weights.
Nick, my dad made me go to the doctor, and he had to sign off on it. And because, I mean, you're right. It was bad for your back. It was bad for this. It was bad for that. So we went out and got a $20 weight set, and we put it right in my in the dining room in our house. And I'm not kidding.
Oh.
And that was back in the Rocky Balboa, where you're drinking the milkshakes with the raw eggs in it, and the protein. And I mean, it was a transformation for me that helped my, obviously, athletic career. But it also, I think it set the stage for why the spread offense, why the sports performance models that we put together over the years, that, there's always a better way. Just study it.
Absolutely. Coach, I want to ask you about something a little bit different. You have experience in both, and obviously we've been seeing the SEC. We've been seeing conference expansion for the last 15 years or so. But right now, there's a lot of talk about the Big Ten and the SEC, obviously the two power conferences, and maybe their continued quest to expand. Where do you kind of see college football in maybe 10 years? If you were to prognosticate with what now, I don't expect you to necessarily see in the future.
Well, the transformation of college sports to it all being all about money has been really an amazing thing to watch in my career. When you first got into coaching back in the 80s, like I did, no one got paid well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first job at Illinois State was $6,000 a year, and we were lucky. I remember going to Bowling Green, our players didn't have training table. Mm-hmm. And even in Florida, our training, it just wasn't like it is. And I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but here's the thing that I think everybody's got to really watch. Right now, the Wolverines have this is before all the fines and everything, a projected close to $30 million shortfall in budget.
Mm.
Some teams are starting to drop sports. I can see the SEC and Big Ten at some point saying, "Wait a minute, we are the primary source of revenue on television," which no one can argue that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I got to be careful how I say this, but when you start seeing programs lose money, at the end of the day, those athletic directors report to a president, mm-hmm. and the president reports to a board of trustees. And if you start dropping, these non-revenue sports, you start losing money because of a 12-team playoff, and you're seeing teams in there that, you probably in your mind are thinking we should have more teams in there. I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen here in the next few years.
Yeah. Well, you kind of mentioned it. Do you have any prevailing thoughts on expansion of playoff? I think I kind of read the tea leaves there, but that's certainly something that's been talked about as well. 16 teams, 24 teams. I think there's one floater out at 28 teams, which just seems bonkers. But
yeah, one the Big Ten proposed one is 4-4-2-2-1-1,
mm-hmm.
and that was. And I know that leaves the Big 12 and the ACC with only two teams, and I get it. They were pissed off about that, and they should have been. But what I liked best about that is the committee became no longer the committee didn't decide who went in. It was decided by play-in. So if the Big 10 got 4 teams, that meant the top 2 teams are in, but then you also had playing with 5 and 6,
mm-hmm.
So now there's no committee. The committee maybe helps seed, but they're not picking who goes in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of that. I mean, as long as you look back at 06, when we beat Arkansas. I was I remember Jeremy Fuller. We got in real late, but I wanted to go to my son's practice, and I'm on the phone the whole time with him. And are we in, Jeremy? Are we in? And that was back when there was like all these different polls. Remember the BCS back then?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he finally told me, and I screamed. I mean, like all these kids are out there. You know, my son was real little at the time, playing Little League baseball, and I'm standing out there in center field, and I just, hell yeah, something like that. And everybody could tell what happened. We were in. And then we go to in 08 was also the BCS. And then in 14 was the first year of the playoff. But, you know, I think there's a human element involved. And I'd like to see the committee, other than seeding, that's fine. But who gets in, that should be playing. If there's a way to do that, I'm a big fan of that.
I wonder if the Bulls will have an objection to that. It's funny because, you know, the playoff to begin with, people were like, oh, you're going to devalue the regular season. And, buddy, let me tell you, I'm watching football. I'm watching Maction on Thursday. It doesn't matter. I used to joke, I'm like, I think there are too many bowls, but you better believe I'm going to be sitting down watching, the Cotton Swab Bowl on a Wednesday in December. But I wonder if the Bulls would have an issue with that. But I think the way that you kind of just explained it, Coach, too, that Missouri-Kentucky game in November that you might not have had an interest in. Well, hey, Missouri's 7-1 and they're battling for, a spot. You start getting some more meaning in games that maybe you wouldn't when you're looking at the Big Ten and the SEC getting, 4 teams, that 4-5-6 team, that battle throughout the year.
I agree with you, Nick, but also to trump that would be to say, everybody, remember when the great players, if you weren't one of the top 2, top 4 teams, they quit playing.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing all these great players playing. And so that's why I really like the play-in. So if you went that 4-4-2-2-1-1, and maybe expand it even more so you get more for the Big 12 and more for but you have 6 teams in the Big 10 still alive at the end of the year. And then that championship weekend where you're playing 1 versus 2 in the Big 10 championship game or SEC championship game, you also have playing games. And so you're seeing all these great players that otherwise would have cashed it in. They're still going. And what does all the fans really want to watch? They want to watch these when players started sitting out, and I understood it. But I remember when Denzel Ward came to me and said, I don't think I'm going to play in a Cotton Bowl. And that was the first time I didn't understand what he was saying. That didn't comprehend. Didn't compute with me. But I understand now. Certainly after I did my homework then. But the fans want to see the great players, and I think playing games are the way to go.
And on that note, the campus sites for playoff games, unbelievable last year. Josh Pate put his predictions out, and he had Florida as an 8 seed, Georgia as a 9 seed. Coach, there was only one year. There was only 1 year where you didn't beat Georgia, and my goodness, you made up for it the following year.
Very well.
Those were completely necessary timeouts. Had to collect the team. Make sure that the instruction was there.
Right. Make sure the right play call came in.
When I saw that, I thought, "Ooh, Georgia coming down to visit Florida. That place would be electric."
Yeah, I last night I turned on that Netflix SEC. And I watched the Gators, and, they didn't have the Tom Petty thing when I was there. Oh, my gosh, what a setting, what an environment. And DJ Lagway, I think this might be it, man. I mean, this might be a chance for the Gators to make a run at the SEC championship. I watched that. I thought Coach Napier did a great job keeping that team together because they were done.
Yeah.
That book was written about halfway through the season. It was over. And they, I think the Netflix thing really did a good job with that and showed what kind of kid. Because I never knew DJ. To watch him speak, what a nice looking guy and competitor. And Mertz was on there too, and all those players. But then brought back so many memories. And then I see him right at the end of the end of the third quarter. They do the Tom Petty.
Right
They
after
do, right after We Are the Boys. Yep.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's always good, but you can catch it for a night game. It's a little bit different at night. You're very familiar with nighttime in the swamp and what that atmosphere is like. The tradition started right after Tom passed away, and I remember telling Scott Strickland that night, like, hey, I know this was supposed to be a one-time thing. You got to keep this. I don't think I had any sway. I think just how cool it was did it on its own.
You guys might not know this, but this is interesting. So I get hired there in 2005, and I remember going through with our operations staff, say, okay, where does the team come in? And we're getting as we start getting ready for the season, and they said, well, you just come into the through that driveway down below the stadium, and you get out and go to the locker room. And I said, no, we're not doing that. And so I spent every day. I was back when I was a jogger. I ran around that stadium, 100 times, just look and say, where should we do this? We're going to do that. And Jeremy was great. And so we came up with the Gator Walk, and there was about 3 or 4 different places we thought about doing it, but then we decided on the one that's current. And then here's another thing that most people thought We Are the Boys was a fight song. So I went around myself, and I grabbed a coach or a player, and we went to every fraternity, every sorority, every student group for 3 months. I was exhausted, and we would hand out the orange and blue and make the student body learn the orange and blue fight song. So we just tried to add, and then we also did the when we went over, and I hope they still do it, salute the band after games.
Mm-hmm.
And then sing the fight song with them, and I hope they still do that. I don't know if they do. But
yeah, they do. The team is actually quizzed on it, and this week the team will have the band come into the facility, and they do like a practice run. Billy Napier's done a really good job of making sure, win or lose, that the guys do it on the road, at home. And they practice it, and they're tested on how well they know it, all the new guys.
I'm glad they're doing that. And I was amazed that you have a place like Florida, and there was actually very little like that kind of traditions that you think should have been there. But I'm glad they stuck around.
Absolutely. Coach, I know we're up against time here. Which college football landscape, which teams are you excited to watch this year?
Well, we cover the Big Ten, a lot, of the Big 12. So, the Ohio State is named Julian Sagan is their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's slight of size, but he's got I've been hearing about him for a year. He's an Alabama transfer.
Yep.
They have the best player in college football.
He's incredible.
But there's another guy, because you can stop a great player. And I remember when I had Percy Harvin and then Lewis Murphy, then a guy named Riley Cooper came along, and you can't stop. If you have people all over the field, you can stop one guy, or at least limit them. So I think the Buckeyes are going to be really good. I think Penn State has followed the model of the Wolverines and the Buckeyes the last 2 years with a very veteran team.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to LSU. I watched that LSU thing when Nussmeier came back. A bunch of those guys came back.
Mm-hmm.
And they grow them different down there in Louisiana. I remember my first time down there, and I walked and I saw those players coming out in those white uniforms. I grabbed my offensive line coach and I said, how in the hell are you going to block those guys? At night down in LSU, they just look different. Yeah. And I think I'm excited to see the Gators. I'm going to talk about this on our podcast tomorrow. One of the players, I was supposed to pick 3 players that I can't wait to watch. One of them is DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did that as a freshman.
Yeah.
And the growth from a freshman to sophomore at that position, I just don't know the players around him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because I've not really studied Florida, but I'm anxious to watch him and see what he can do.
One quick one, Coach. You've had quarterback battles, stuff like that. Florida doesn't have one, obviously, but for a backup, they do. And I think it's between a redshirt sophomore and a true freshman. Just how difficult is it as a coach trying to find that backup and judging by experience and young, and how do you handle that?
Well, that's that's a tough one, but that's a critical spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's we in 14 we ended up winning a national title with our third string quarterback.
Yeah.
Our starter went down a week before the first game. Then JT Bear took over and he got hurt in a rivalry game. And then our third stringer came in there and had a magical run. So I'm sure those coaches are grinding over it. But I think nowadays, especially because players just leave a lot of times, they have to be fair. And you're trying to get DJ ready. How in the world do you get that 2 and 3 guy reps?
Yeah.
Well, you'd hope that would have been done by spring, but it sounds to me like they're still going at it.
Yeah, I wonder if you can't even name starting quarterback in spring anymore because you have that portal period that's after spring. Everything is in flux and changing by the month in college football.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate you joining the show today. I know we've had you on the show a couple times. I think this is your third time, so we always appreciate it. I know you have a podcast now, so let everybody know where they can listen to your podcast. And then, of course, you can watch Big Noon Kickoff as well.
Yeah, we have the triple option with the former Heisman Trophy winner in Alabama, Mark Ingram, who's become like one of my closest friends. He's a nut job, man. He's my face hurts sometimes. I laugh. So, and then Rob Stone from Big Noon is our MC. I'll be honest, I have no idea where you can. It's all over that stuff, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I know.
It technically sounds, so it's wherever you get podcasts.
Well, you put out great content, Coach, and we appreciate you joining today. Best of luck. I know your falls are very, very busy, so thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll let you run.
I actually follow your stuff, so you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you, Coach. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Right.
We have to put that in the intro. I follow your stuff, so it's good stuff. You know what I mean? Urban is an absolute legend. You know, I know we've talked a lot about it on this show. You know, when I was on the recruiting staff, there was no reason for me to ever talk to Urban Meyer, but he always asked how I was doing, what the temperature of the room was. But he was just a very caring person, and I'll appreciate what Urban Meyer did for me and the opportunities that I had, and obviously his impact on college football. It's no surprise that he was in the College Football Hall of Fame. He got inducted. Let me pull up the list. I know Nick Saban was in the list with him. You know, they probably have so many stories to share. But when you look at, you know, this class, Michael Vick is in this class. Michael Strahan is in the class. Steve Slayton. A few others, maybe you guys remember Monty Ball when he was over at the University of Wisconsin, but an incredible honor for him. And I think it's only a matter of time, Nick, for him to get into the Ring of Honor.
I talk about this all the time. If you haven't heard me say it before, just not listening enough. I love how exclusive the Ring of Honor is. Percy Harvin doesn't have the qualifications to get into the Ring of Honor. That's the level of exclusivity it has. Percy Harvin, I'm sure, is in the UF Hall of Fame or will be. You can be in the UF Athletic Hall of Fame. To be in the Football Ring of Honor is one of the most exclusive clubs. I think like Wilbur Marshall, Emmett Smith, Tim Tebow,
Jack
Youngblood,
and Steve Spurrier.
Urban Meyer is, I think, the only living qualified player, person, coach to have qualified for it and not be in it. And I understand that there's been some time off. You probably didn't want to do it while he was actively coaching and winning national championships in college at Ohio State. But it is long overdue. And I believe Florida will do the correct thing eventually, in not too long. Urban Meyer deserves to be in the University of Florida Ring of Honor. Steve Spurrier is and always will be Florida's first son. Came to Florida, won a Heisman, came back to coached a Heisman, won a national championship. Urban Meyer is not Steve Spurrier, but Urban Meyer might be the most successful and best coach that Florida has had, winning 2 in 6 years.
Yeah, 2 and 6 years. Obviously, all of those years, winning records. The 07 year, you get Tebow the Heisman. 05 season, you make the transition. 06, you win. 07, you get Tebow Heisman. 08, they win. 09, they have a undefeated regular season. Their first time in history going 12-0. Obviously, a tough loss to Alabama, then blow the doors off of Cincinnati. And then there's some other things that come up. Right, life happens. When he has that next year. Urban Meyer, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 football coaches of all time. Maybe he doesn't have the same number of national championships as some others. Maybe he didn't, have the same longevity as a head coach of some others. But in my opinion, what he did to the game of football, what his teams produced and how he was able to do it at multiple different places, from Bowling Green to Utah to Florida to Ohio State, is just something that is remarkable, and there's just very few that can hold a candle to him.
I mean, the two greatest football coaches both changed the way the conference played football. Right. It was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Spurrier came and goes, cool, we're throwing the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. When Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen and that Utah staff came to Florida, it was that spread stuff is cool. It's cute. It worked out there. Not going to work in the SEC.
Right.
2 years in, you're like, okay, how do we stop this spread offense and how do we replicate it?
Yeah.
Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier changed the way the SEC played football.
Absolutely. And, it's going to be really cool. He's going to be honored at some game this year. It hasn't been announced yet, and I didn't want to ask him about it just in case they're still trying to figure out. He's going to be honored at a game this season as a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. While I do an ad read, I'm going to figure out how many Gators are in the College Football Hall of Fame. It's not a ton. There's 15. So Urban Meyer obviously didn't play, but he'd be the 16th member. 10 players and then 6 coaches that are in that elusive group, right? Florida's been playing football for almost 120 years. This will be season 119, I believe. And to be one of 16 is just an incredible honor. So congratulations to Urban. We don't need to sing his praises on this pod. Everybody loves Urban, right? If you didn't, he did his first ever interview about the Gators on Stadium and Gale well before we had YouTube. It was me, Corey, and Ahmad Black. We had it unencumbered for probably an hour and 15 minutes. I don't think he knew how long the show was going to be. But we just kept going, right? We didn't give him an opportunity to leave, but that was an incredible interview. So definitely go check that one out. It was 5 years ago, pre-Jacksonville, post-Ohio State. So go check that one out. But that is enough of that. Thank you so much to Urban Meyer. Thank you. Don't want to gloss over Neil Blackmon. Very excited about what Neil and Eric are going to bring to the Stadium and Gale family as well. All right, let's get into the scrimmage notes. Before we do that, Nick, though, I want to give an ad read, and I want to make sure that I share this because they just sent it to me while Urban was talking. So shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall. They are hosting an event, a family-friendly event on Saturday from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. with face painting, games, giveaways. So go hang out, go visit Alumni Hall. They are going to be doing, like I said, giveaways, games, face painting for kids, for adults too, I guess, if that's your thing. And then obviously, load up on your gear for the new season, t-shirts, polos, golf polos, tailgating supplies, hats, anybody from newborn baby to great-grandmother, great-grandfather in your life. So go visit Alumni Hall on Archer Road this Saturday from 11 to 1 and get your Gator apparel and kick off your season in style. Or you can always visit them on alumnihall.com. Nick, this is a question. Does Fred Taylor get into the Ring of Honor if he makes the NFL Hall of Fame? You are muted.
Yes, I believe he would. Yeah.
Man.
Hall of Fame is Hall of Fame is one of the criteria. Did you look up when I was saying that? What the criteria is?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I was looking up how many people were in the Ring of Honor because I know somebody said Percy Harvin. I don't think Percy Harvin qualifies. So criteria is winning the Heisman Trophy, being an All-American, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you have to have both.
Yep.
Being an All-American who led the NFL in career categories, leading in collegiate categories, coaching at least one national championship team, or coaching at least 3 SEC championship teams. So, yes, but that would be the only
two or more consensus All-American honors. I think the last player that had 2 was Vernon Hargreaves, and they weren't consensus. Consensus would be all 5. If all 5 of Walter Camp, Associated Press, Sporting News, AFCA, and FWAA all voted you as a first-team All-American 2 years in a row, you'd be qualified. But I love that is that exclusive. It's that hard. Yeah, no. Sorry, I missed that. This is what you get for trusting Google AI to just give you the answer. So all of the other things are right. Yes. Heisman winners that are in there are Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, Tim Tebow. Former All-Americans inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame for accomplishments as a player, Jack Youngblood. Former UF All-American who are NFL career category leaders, Emmitt Smith with rushing. And Steve Spurrier, obviously a coach with a UF national championship, coach with 3 SEC championships, is going to be Steve Spurrier. Nobody has been inducted as a collegiate career category winner or players with 2 or more consensus All-Americans. So again, Emmitt Smith, Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, Jack Youngblood, and Wilbur Marshall are your players that are in. And Tim Tebow. I'm sorry. I don't know if Marquise Pouncey is eligible. Let me see.
I guess he would probably have to get into the NFL Hall of Fame because I think he was only a one-time All-American.
Yeah, but see, it's not even like being an All-American. Like Jake Slaughter, All-American, wasn't consensus.
Do you think you have to be a consensus All-American and then get the Hall of Fame, or will they allow you to have just one All-American honor? Why don't you do research? Because I don't know if we're going to find that answer today.
Well, I'm looking at it on FloridaGators.com.
Well, that's where I'm looking at it too. But it just says former UF All-American inducted to the Hall of Fame for accomplishments as players. I think they probably allow you to just be an All-American, which is a brick outside. But I don't know. But maybe they only look at the AP, Walter Camp, Sporting News, AFCA, FWAA, and UPI. So you probably have to be an All-American in one or multiple of those.
Consensus means?
Well, consensus means all, but what I'm saying is a former UF All-American. Like, I don't think being named a Rivals All-American counts.
No, it's not.
Or Yahoo. Yahoo.
Yeah, I don't know that Marquise is eligible.
Not yet. I think Marquise is going to make the NFL Hall of Fame. This is his first year, I believe. I think this is his first year that he's eligible. I could be wrong. Chat, let me know. All right, Nick, let's get into the scrimmage from Saturday. Final scrimmage of the year, correct?
Yep.
All right, give us, again, if you want the full breakdown, go visit FloridaVictorious.com, become a member, go visit the message board. It is pinned. It says scrimmage notes from August 16th. We are going to give a perfunctory overview of some of these notes here. But again, we're not going to break down everything. Go check out Florida Victorious for that. But Nick, give us your thoughts on this scrimmage from Saturday.
2 scrimmages in a row. Best pass, Aiden Warner. 2 touchdowns. I thought Trammell looked good. George Gums, Tyreek Sapp, Jaden Woods, Aaron Childs, they look fantastic. They've looked great all year or all camp. I think Cam James has looked good in camp. Katie Daniels had some big plays, flashed. The biggest thing to me, especially because the last 2 The last two fall camps you had in the second scrimmage, the final scrimmage, devastating injuries. One was Cam Carroll, his knee injury, and then last year Jamari Lyons had the compound fracture. So no injuries in scrimmage is huge, especially at this point. I think they are playing prevent defense with a lot of guys in terms of the injuries.
Sure. Prevent injuries or prevent defense?
Prevent defense to prevent injuries. So a lot of guys held out, a lot of guys limited. That makes sense. Like you're tackling live on August 16th? Tackling live on August 16th, 2 weeks from a game. We know what we are. Like, how many snaps do I need to see Jake Slaughter at center? How many snaps do I need to see Austin Barber at left tackle? Like, hey, man, 5th year, seen you a lot. I went through Austin Barber almost has 2,000 career snaps. He will surpass 2,000 career snaps this year, which is wild. Overall, good scrimmage. I think the biggest thing is that you're healthy. I like Aiden Warner. I like Tramel Jones, the strides that Tramel Jones has made. I still think it's really hard to be a freshman and to play. I could see at some point Tramel maybe being the second string quarterback. I don't know that it'll be versus LIU. It's got to be true of 99% of the teams in college. The drop off from QB1 to QB2 is just big. It's just a big drop off from QB1 to QB2. It's so hard to keep quarterbacks on the roster and develop them because they'll just go somewhere else and play. Texas is really an outlier last year, having Arch being like, yeah, I'm chilling. Quinn Ewers goes down and Arch able to step in. So getting DJ to the season healthy, which obviously we already talked about him making playing in 11-on-11 today for the first time in camp. That's progress. I don't think this is anything that's going to hinder him going into the season. I give a caveat being like, first game's LIU. How much do you need to see him versus LIU? And then USF the following week. I think like perfect world, you get 2 quick touchdown drives at a DJ and you're like, all right, you know what? We're good. And you kind of cruise to a win over LIU. I was just talking to Joe Houston today because I noticed
special teams coach for people that don't know the name.
Special teams coordinator Joe Houston, sorry. I was noticing at practice on one of the kick cover teams, like the kick return teams. I just thought, like, what Dan, what do you think the gunner at Long Island University looks like?
Probably similar to me.
Maybe a little better shape, probably young, probably freshman, redshirt freshman.
Definitely younger than me, probably half my age. But I don't think the build's all that different, Nick.
Okay. So when the left gunner lines up, and LIU will have to kick the ball off at least once. When that guy lines up, it's George Gums, Aaron Childs, and Tyree Sapp. I
mean,
and at that point, that kid from LIU is probably thinking, you know what? Mom was right. Tennis was a good sport. Should have stuck with it.
Mamma mia.
Should have played tennis. I was sitting there in the middle of the two fields looking like, that's terrifying. That's 34-8, 94. That's terrifying. Glad I played baseball. Beat LIU. I don't know how much you'll play DJ, how much he needs to play. I would like to see it. I'm like you guys. Listen, I'm just sitting here. I get to be a fan now. I want to see him play. I want to see him throw over 5,000 yards and run for 2,000. Would love to see that. But I think, and I keep saying this, it doesn't matter how healthy he is August 18th as we're talking about this live, August 19th if you're listening in podcast form. Matters how healthy he is August 30th. Matters how healthy he is first weekend of September against
October
USF.
5th. Yeah.
You've got to get him healthy. I think so much of the team, I think this is a playoff team. if DJ Lagway's healthy for 12 games. Yeah. And it's the best supporting cast, I think, around a quarterback that I've seen definitely since 2020. And we'd have to really dig into the rosters then, Dan. But I think your offensive line, your running back room, your receiver depth, you just got to get the guys who are dinged up in camp, get them back and healthy and ready to play. It's been brutally hot. It was 105 the other day during practice. Just gross.
Dallas Wilson cast off tomorrow. Speaking of injuries,
yeah, I believe so. And he's one. So you once you get the cast off, you just start rehabbing.
Yeah.
Will he be available for LIU? I don't know. He's a guy who's already getting first team reps. And if you put him at that X position, I think there's less option routes and stuff than the Z and easier to play. But you saw him, what you've seen from him in the orange and blue game and what you've seen from him in the clips that the media gets in that 15-minute window. He's that good as advertised.
Love to hear that. Where are we at with the other injuries? Any other news to report?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Let me just go through the notes here. We're going to talk a little bit about special teams today. So I'm going to read through this, if you don't mind. First team kickoff return was Vernell Brown III and J. Michael Sturdivant. And then second team is Nashawn Montgomery and Byron Lewis, who I do want to talk to you about because that's a name he's buried on the depth chart, right? Florida is stacked top to bottom in the running back room. Do you think that there's an opportunity for Byron Lewis to see the field in that capacity, or is it just practice? And I mean, you have Waltez Clark and Byron Lewis there. You also have four guys. Obviously, Trayon Webb is dealing with an injury coming back, but you have four guys ahead of him. Is there a chance that we see a Byron Lewis this year? Or?
Yeah, I mean, there is a chance. I just don't know how. I don't envy the coaching staff with the transfer portal the way it is. I don't envy the coaching staff because Jaden Ball is your number one. Jacoby Jackson's your number two.
Almost you're like 1B, right? I mean,
it's 1A, 1B. Yeah. I mean, 100%. They're going to, and then Katie Daniels is electric. Jaden Ball can outrun people and run through you. Jacoby Jackson can run through you. Katie Daniels will make you miss and then run by you. Waltez Clark, Duke Clark, I think has the best receiving hands out of the group. And I was unfamiliar with his game. Did not know how fast he is. He might be the fastest in the room. Maybe a little step behind KD. Maybe a step or two behind KD, but second fastest in the room. Trayon Webb, when and if he can come back, I should say when. I think he's already rehabbing. But when he comes back, does he slide back into 4? Does he slide? It's just a tough room, but you need. I guess the way to do it if you're a coach is just to be honest, like blunt and honest. Like, hey, this is the depth chart. This is how it is. But Byron Lewis from South Florida went to American Heritage. We won't hold that against him. First time I met him and I told him I went to St. Thomas, he was not friendly to me. I said I played baseball. He said, okay. Cool kid. But yeah, just it's a very deep room.
Yeah, it's a deep room. If you look at punt returner, where you have first team Take Hawkins, second team Vernell Brown.
Yeah, I think Vernell Brown, it's Joe Houston. I got a kick out of it during fall camp or the Florida Media Day when they asked him who's going to return kicks and punts. He named 12 guys. He named a dozen guys. And I thought that was funny. I think everyone wanted it to be VB3. Obviously, a legacy, high profile. incredible ability to make guys miss, gets up to his top speed. Off the field, he is just about business, whether it's like doing stuff with us for NIL, with his other sponsorships. He's got an American Eagle deal, all about his business, but like handles everything. Like he's not somebody you're going to have to worry about when he leaves the facility. Always getting in extra work, taking being a college athlete very seriously, much more so than you did, Dan, as an IM All-American, or that I did as a D3 beer drinker in North Carolina. But I think Joe named a bunch of guys because all those guys were working at it. But I think the thought and the hope was, hey, I think VB3 can take this job. He's going to have to earn it. In my eyes, from what I've seen, he's earning it. I think Nashawn Montgomery behind him. Yeah. And then you had some other guys. J Mike's back there. Jaden Ball's done it. Javari Flowers has been back there. DeBron Hampton and Jackson Wade. 83. Okay. Sneaky fast. Jackson Wade's had a great camp. I don't know if our fans want to hear that. Sure.
Well, sure. You know what, Nick? I am a fan.
He's a Florida Victorious athlete, so we can start marketing him. Dan.
I'm an equal opportunity. I want everybody to have good practices, and I want people to show out, right? This is for a lot of kids, scholarship and not scholarship, the last opportunity that they're going to get to play professional, organized, or I guess in some ways professional, amateur, but paid football, right? So I think that this is a great opportunity. And if a guy like Cade can earn himself an opportunity to see the field, whether it's against an LIU or whether it's against a Mississippi State or FSU or whatever it might be, I want those kids to have the opportunity to do that because they're getting to live out, a once in a lifetime dream, right? The number of high school football players that ever play a professional college snap has got to be so unbelievably low that even if you get one snap against LIU, like you beat out 99.99% of the other people that played the same sport you did. Maybe 9.98.
Yeah, it not that everyone has to be Rudy, but you're getting an opportunity to be part of a team. I say this all the time, like I was shaped so much by playing sports, by being part of a team. You learn life lessons. You learn how to fail. You learn how to deal with success. You learn just how to deal with people, deal with your peers.
Yeah.
Self-discipline. When you're not self-disciplined, you learn about discipline,
right?
Outside discipline. And those guys are, Billy Napier and this program make a big deal about walk-ons, and they call them the job takers, the scout team, the guys who are giving the first team a look. I mentioned that when we talked about Aiden Warner and how he looked last year, was that Aiden Warner was the scout team quarterback. He's not even in his playbook. He's not even in the Gators playbook because he is giving the other team. He is in the other team's playbook and giving the defense a look at what they're going to face, and then you get thrown in. So it's just a selfless attitude for those guys. But on the note of Jackson Wade, because of all the injuries that we've had at receiver, he's gotten a ton of reps. Electric. 83 in your playbooks. Number one in your heart.
All right. Billy Napier also. Anything else you want to cover about the scrimmage?
No. Plenty more at FloridaVictorious.com. Sign up.
Billy Napier had a press conference this afternoon. He's going to be doing afternoon press conferences from here on out. School year starts on Thursday. Has mentioned that Cormani McLean has improved as a tackler. He's gained 15 pounds of muscle and has grown up and shown out. So congratulations to him. He said Miles Graham is getting more comfortable addressing issues with teammates. His off-the-field growth is just as important as on-the-field growth. The Gators also announced the game against Mississippi State homecoming, they are going to be wearing their retro uniforms, the cool retro jerseys that you guys all like. And then it's going to have the interlocking UF orange helmet for that game. So that will be really cool to see, and very glad that they are making them back, but are bringing them back
for the people who are listening, Dan.
But he also said that it's more important for the players to play better than they look. So, Billy Napier, never a guy that's cared a ton about the outfits, the way that Gator Uniforms, at Gator Uniforms, one of my favorite accounts to follow, does. But it's an elite jersey. Nick, college football, 25, 26.
Yep,
play with that jersey often. I
don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it here. So they put like a little that elephant pattern that it's not a gator pattern.
Yeah. Why would it
be?
It's
the elephant pattern is on normal Jordans, like the Jordan brand stuff.
My bad.
Is in the blue. It looks
fashion.
good. But I really appreciated small detail here. Throwback uniform, go with a legacy player. I don't think Ernest Graham, obviously Miles Graham modeling there. I don't think Ernest played in those uniforms, but really cool to use a legacy player when you're using a throwback or a legacy jersey.
Guy looks good. Pause. But he also mentioned TJ Abrams and Vernell Brown as players that have really stuck out in the wide receiver room this year. Yeah. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Vernell Brown. There's a lot of reason to. TJ Abrams often gets overshadowed, right? You talk about J. Mike, you talk about Dallas, Eugene, even Tank Hawkins and Dallas Wilson and all these other guys. It's kind of easy to forget about TJ Abrams. There's a chance.
Number 4, both number 4s have been playing a good bit. Teddy Foster on defense, TJ Abrams on offense. There's a lot of talent in that room. I think those first 2 games we'll see a lot of those guys and getting those opportunities. To me, though, like I Vernell Brown, obviously everyone talks about Dallas and for good reason. But like Vernell Brown, I think it's quietly because we don't the outside media doesn't get to see as much, but like just balls out every day. Has had an incredible camp. And I really just think it's like I was talking about, that professional mindset that he has on and off the field. I think he's going to earn his role on special teams, and I think he's going to earn his role on offense. There's no doubt in my mind that VB3 plays a ton as a true freshman.
It's great to see there's a lot of competition in that room. So to be able to beat some of those guys and taking advantage of the opportunity that you have, right? There's some injuries right now. Take advantage of that opportunity to show out. So really looking forward to seeing him. That should wrap up just about everything. Nick, we're going to talk about your favorite position group here. But before we do that, one final shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. If you are looking for anything that has vintage UF type designs, that homecoming game, when they're wearing the vintage shirt might be a great place to wear it. The corduroy hat that Nick has, all provided by our friends over at Alumni Hall. So go visit alumnihall.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout. You'll get 20% off of your order. They obviously have a lot of other schools other than the University of Florida, as we've talked about. Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale. It will work one time per email address.
And
not per address, per email address.
Looking out for the listener there, Dan.
Looking out for the listener. So Stadium and Gale is your checkout code at Home Field Apparel. Nick, let's talk a little bit about special teams. At punter, redshirt senior and Michigan transfer Tommy Doman. At place kicker, you have
national champion Tommy Doman.
National champion Tommy Doman. At place kicker and kickoff, you have senior Trey Smack. And then behind him, you have freshman Evan Noel, and then Brandon Rabasco fighting for that backup kicker spot. Long snapper is going to be redshirt senior and I believe an All-American by one of the folks that follow special teams, Rocco Underwood.
Yep.
He's been a huge, steadfast positional player. You don't realize you don't have a good long snapper until you don't have one. So it's a very important role. And then after that, kickoff return, you've had Jaden Baugh, you've had Take Hawkins, you've had J. Michael Sturdivant, Nashawn Montgomery, Byron Lewis. You've had kind of a cavalcade of names at that kickoff position or kick return position. And then at punt return, you have Take Hawkins, you have Vernell Brown, Eugene Wilson. Again, the list kind of goes on and on of potentials there. Nick, let's talk about the punting position. You've seen Tommy Doman. What are your thoughts there?
No drop off. Tommy, seemingly, I've seen him kick 60, 70 yards. Saw him really get into one and ruined what they were. It was a punt return drill and just punted the ball like into the offensive line who was working out behind VB3 and the other guys. So he's really good. I think
he's good at spotting the ball too. The coffin corner kicks and all of that.
I actually think Hayden Craig is better at that.
Okay.
Really good.
Hayden Craig, freshman punter.
Yeah, really good with his directional kicking. Tommy does a really good job with hang time, and I don't think you're going to get a lot of returns, and it might not matter. You can kick the ball straight down the field. I think he gets so much hang time that they'll be good. Florida's in a really cool spot because you had a freshman long snapper in Mac, two or at least one Evan Noel is your kicker of the future freshman, and you have a punter of the future. So you have three freshmen who all have the opportunity to redshirt this year and work behind seniors in Doman, Rocco, and Trey. So as long as those guys stay healthy, Rocco missed a game last year. I think he had a monster hit, went into a little protocol. But as long as those guys are healthy, you can as long as they're healthy, you redshirt those guys. The operation's smooth.
I need a 40 time on Rocco Underwood because
you'll get it. He'll be at pro day.
Always around the ball.
We'll get one at pro day. It'll be the special teams operation. I know that when everyone thinks special teams, this is what they want to hear about: the kicking, punting, long snapping. I think that will be solid for Florida. I think Billy said the line for Trey, I think he said was the plus 43, which would be like a 50, nearly a 60 yarder.
I think that is
plus 43 would be right around, depending on how how far you were snapping back. 43 yards plus 10 in the end zone is 53, so it'd be 58, anywhere from 57 to 60. The range. Tommy's going to be able to flip the field, and Rocco, great snapper. I love that you have the depth behind them, guys who will get the experience this year, will get to travel and go see what it's like and what it sounds like at LSU, at Texas A&M, get that experience. And then returning, I think you have a bunch of guys. There's Brandon said it, no starting running backs on returns, please. It's a spot where you can get injured. I wonder when the NCAA will go to what the NFL did on kickoffs.
I'm surprised they haven't already, to be honest.
They follow what the NFL does. So maybe next year. But I think Florida has an opportunity to be elite on special teams. And I say that because of like what I was joking about earlier with the LIU gunner, George Gums, Aaron Childs, and Tyreek Sapp on kick return. I watched like Nashawn Montgomery come off the edge on kick block. Like, you're getting talented guys to buy in and play on special teams. It's become an emphasis to compete on special teams. George Gums coming off the ball. Joe Houston And Billy Napier trying Ollie. Olivier Rioux trying him out. I think Ollie's vertical is only 11 inches. Don't need much of a vert when you're 7'9". But the thought process that goes into special teams they went through and they looked at trajectories of kicks. And okay, if it's a 50-yarder, you're going to have a lower trajectory because you're trying to get more power into it. And then what is the angle of that? And does having a 7'9" guy just standing there with his hands up, does that hit the
Pythagorean theorem in real use,
First time since 6th grade geometry. There it is. The attention to detail, and they do 3-4 live periods of special teams every practice, which, buddy, nothing gets my heart rate going at practice, quite like multiple special teams periods. So I think you've got some really talented returners. And then from the operations standpoint, I think you've got a really good operation with 3 seniors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think.
And Joe Houston, I made jokes about it. Coach Matt, Joe Houston has done an incredible job at organization and just buttoning up everything on special teams in terms of getting guys on and off the field.
I heard, I want to pull it up. I just lost it, but I know Billy Napier said that special teams still has a little way to go. Let me pull up the quote from his press conference today. Website's loading. This is a live operation, guys. All right. So he mentioned, I should learn how to spell special. All right. Napier said they've made progress this fall in positional battles. He did point out special teams as something that's iffy. I guess they probably haven't determined the depth chart there. Added that they need to get healthy down the stretch and included that there. So maybe I misremembered what he said. Maybe it was just the depth that was iffy. So it seems like Florida has a cornucopia of options at the returner positions, which is nice. They have a redshirt senior at long snapper. They've got a redshirt senior at punter, and then a senior that's kicked the ball a bunch as a senior kicker. So hopefully we can get 11 guys on the field. Do we know who the gunners are, Nick? Do you see much of that in terms of punt block and stuff like that? I mean, I'm missing that. I'm missing the exceptional play from special teams, not just the return. Obviously I want to see that. I'd love to see a blocked kick. I'd love to see a blocked punt or 2 this season. Does it look like we have the ability to do that?
Yes.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Nick can share some, can't share others, can share on Florida Victorious, sometimes can't. But no, Nick, I appreciate your breakdown of the special teams. Next week, guys, is the final Monday before the season starts against Long Island University. So stick around next week for that. We'll have a bunch of other announcements about what we're doing here at Stadium and Gale. Nick, I'm going to run through everything once again. You pick out your song of the week while you're doing that. So again, we are going to announce sometime this week whether we're going to start game day eve next week or the week after. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be on every Friday. Stadium and Gale will be back every Monday, as it's always been. Jordan will be back after the preseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars is over. He's had an unbelievable experience up in Jacksonville. First time that statement's ever come out of my mouth. And then, again, Florida Basketball Hour, super excited to bring them into the Stadium and Gale network. So you'll find their feed everywhere you find Stadium and Gale, as well as our YouTube. If you still follow them on Patreon, if you still follow their feed, all of that is staying the same. Nothing is changing there. This is just an opportunity. Nick, did you have something to say? Oh, you got real excited over there.
Picked my song. I'm typing it in our private chat so you have it.
Perfect. And then we want to thank Neil Blackmon for coming on the show today. And then, of course, Urban Meyer. Congratulations to him, a member of the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame, and really being candid about the future of college athletics. His thoughts on the playoff
and then ultimately, his thoughts on the Gators and college football as a whole. So with that, Nick, what do we got?
I can't remember. It might have been a reel. I'm old, so I'm not on TikTok. So I get my TikToks a week late on Instagram Reels, but it is Zach John King.
Okay.
The song is called Lose You. It was between that and I think Life Behind Bars, but we went with Lose You, Zach John King.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody for watching on YouTube. We appreciate everybody for watching on Twitter. We will see you at the same corner, same time next week. See ya.